Hey, good that you're watching. You clicked on this video, so I will assume you might be interested in someone helping you, especially in this area, the lower back. Maybe you have some issues there, maybe not. Maybe you're just interested in ways to relieve some tension there or find ways to help be more efficient in this area. So, without further ado, let's just get right into it. The lower back is a common area where people feel tension, aches, might be building up there, might be that they're trying to pick something up and then shoots in their back, or they'll be squatting and shoots in their back. It can be a sharp moment that induces this uncomfortableness, but it can also be something that has built up in days, in weeks, in months, in years, and is still giving you aches. So, one way, I'm not saying this is the way, but one way we can help relieve some tension in this area, also prevent injuries in the future, is this. So, what usually happens when someone wants to pick something up off the ground, like this tennis ball, they want to pick it up, so they'll go here and then they'll go down and then pick it back up. Now, this is a very light weight, so not gonna be much of a problem for your back. But the problem with having this posture I just showed you, where you pick something up off the ground and you round your back to pick something up off the ground, is problematic in the long run. Why? Well, when you get used to doing this with small weights, and like I said, with small weights, it really doesn't matter if you pick it up in one way or another way, because it won't really bring much stress or forces towards the lower back. But let's say, for example, you're in the gym and you see this kettlebell and you want to pick up this kettlebell, then you might automatically, involuntarily, also use this posture to pick up this kettlebell. Now, you see, in most cases, this is not going to be a problem. But let's say, for example, you're going on vacation. Let's say you're going camping. Could be a scenario that happens in the future. You're going camping and you have a lot of stuff you need to pack, a lot of stuff you need to put from one place to another place. Also during the camping, the tent's quite low. You need to... Hello, Carly. Did you catch anything? No? Okay. Well, it's okay, Carly. I still love you. The tent also might be quite low, so you need to be on the ground more. All of this uncomfortable stuff. Now, you get back to your normal routine, and this is actually something that happened not so long ago with a patient of mine in my clinic. I'm an osteopath. He came back from vacation, a lot of time spent sitting in the car, and he thought, okay, let's get back into the rhythm of how things were. So he went to the gym and he wanted to pick up a dumbbell from the floor very casually, and then it shoots in his back, can't walk, can't do anything. Well, might be, I don't know, I wasn't there, but it might be that he used this way of picking something up off the ground, which puts a lot of forces on the lower back with a cumulative background of vacation, sitting a lot, not putting a lot of pressure or forces on your back for some time in the car, and everything's becoming stiff and rigid, and then trying to do as usual after you come back. This can provoke aches in the lower back, but this might be fixable. How? Well, except from our back muscles, in our spine, we have a lot more muscles a little bit lower here. So we can shift attention from the lower back towards our ass and the back side of our leg, so the hamstrings and the glutes. So when we try to do this, what will happen? Well, first of all, we will shift our attention from our back more towards our hips, and consequently, what will happen is that we use the muscles of our hips, the muscles that influence our hips, hamstrings, glutes. We will use these muscles, which will bring the forces away from our lower back towards our hips and the glutes and the hamstrings. So what will happen, we won't do this. You see I'm pulling from my lower back, but what will happen is this. Really small difference. I hope the camera catches it, but I definitely feel it. So what happens is when I use this instead of this, is that I will automatically flatten the lower back, just because I put more of the force on my hamstrings, which relieves the pulling action from the lower back more towards the hips. So what will happen is I contract my hamstrings and my glutes. See what happens? And then I pick it up. And now the muscles of our lower back are actually being used the way they are kind of meant to be used. Of course, meant to be used is very human terminology, but let's just keep it that way. It gives a good vision of what I'm trying to say. So what are these back muscles used for? Well, they're mainly used in static procedures, like holding yourself in this position, like holding yourself in a standing position, balancing yourself in a standing position. These are some of the ways that the intricate back muscles are being used for. When we are doing this and we pull from here, we are using it in a dynamic way. Now, of course, this is not necessarily bad, especially when you progressively overload this capacity towards a point that is suitable for you. But if you want to reduce the forces that are put on the back for the long term, especially when you are lifting heavier and heavier stuff from the ground, not this tennis ball, but more like a 20 kilo dumbbell. Well, this is an 8 kilogram kettlebell, but let's say it gets heavier and heavier in the gym, etc., or in your house, you need to pull something which is heavier. You can have this in mind. It's just a different way of doing it, where you don't pull from your lower back up like a Jefferson curl, but shift the focus to the hips and try to engage from the hips. So you see here, I am engaging from the hips, like you would actually use a kettlebell. So this idea you can transfer towards everyday life. When you pick something up, you can try to experiment with it. Don't be too rigid with it. Your spine should be able to go into many different places, but I think this might be very valuable in the long run for a lot of people. So, hope you learned something. Hope you found this useful. If you did find it useful, you can give a like, maybe subscribe. It's my first time really asking this, so I feel a little bit weird about it, but well, if it is useful, you can consider this, and if not, that's also fine. I will see you in the next one. Morph well, be well.